Do 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 do. KDO's Keto Kitchen. Alright, this time I have for y'all a keto candied pecan. Doesn't take many ingredients. The first thing you will need is 1 pound of pecan halves. Whatever brand will do. Just maybe something on sale if you want. And then after that, you will need 1 cup of sugar substitute. I use Swerve in my baking. It's 1-for-1 with regular sugar. So if you are not on keto, you could just put regular sugar in there and it will give you the same results. I like erythritol because it has a low glycemic impact. For the spice blend, I used 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of salt, and for fun, I just threw in a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice to kind of even it all out. Last, you will need 1 egg white and 1 tablespoon of water. This is the liquid mixture that's basically going to get all of your dry ingredients to stick to your pecans. Once you have all that gathered, the first thing you will do is take 1 mixing bowl and put your dry ingredients in it. The first thing I put in was my sugar substitute. If you don't feel like inhaling it, put it in a little more carefully because Swerve does have a tendency to cloud up. And then I just took my spice mixture and put that in on top of it. There's not really a method to this madness, just mix it together until everything looks evenly blended so it's a nice and balanced flavor. You can mess around with the spice blend if you want. I found that the cinnamon and nutmeg really goes well together and the pumpkin pie spice kind of just rounded it off this time. Alright, next you're going to take that egg white and that tablespoon of water and get to mixing. I used a whisk and hand mixed them together. You're looking for a white foamy consistency by the time you're done. Just going to fast forward a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. I just put a little muscle into it and hand mixed it. I'm sure you can use an electric blender as well. I'd just be worried about maybe over mixing it a little bit that way. See, that's the consistency you're looking for. Just nice and foamy like that. Once you have that all mixed, I had a handy resealable bag of pecans. So I just went ahead and took that liquid mixture and dumped it right inside. That way I could just reseal the zipper and shake it up. You can use a Ziploc if you don't have a resealable bag, or even just mix it in a bowl. Your goal is to just get these pecans evenly coated with the liquid mixture. That way the spice blend will actually stick to them when they're in the oven. No real wrong way to do that as long as everything gets mixed together. Alright, there we go. And now you can see that all of the pecans are evenly coated and shiny. Once that's all mixed in, you take those now coated pecans and dump them into your dry ingredients. Again, you're just going to mix it all together until everything's coated with the seasoning blend. No wrong way to do it, really. I mean, unless you're dumping it on the floor. Just mix it together with a utensil, get down and dirty with your hands as long as they're nice and clean. Or if they're not, that's up to you. You're the one eating it. And just get everything coated. There may be a little bit extra of the dry ingredient, but don't worry about that because when it's in the oven, it will melt and you are going to mix it together. So that's not too much to be worried about there. And just again, the erythritol is really good for baking if you have insulin resistance or diabetes because it does have a low glycemic impact. It can sometimes have a little bit of a cooling effect, but it's not really that intense, and I don't really notice it too much with these pecans in this recipe. See, just get them coated, and then once all that's ready, just get a pan to put them in. I use 2 baking pans because I don't have a big one at the moment. And I coated mine with just a little bit of spray on coconut oil. You can use regular Pam or even butter if you want, just to keep them from sticking. And then I just put about half of the mixture into each pan. You're going to want to make sure and spread them out so when they are baking in the oven, they have room to cook evenly. You can be really methodical about it, or you can just kind of flatten it out, whatever your cooking style is here, as long as they are spread out so they can all cook in that heat. You do want to preheat your oven to 250 degrees before you really start putting all this together. That way, whenever it's all mixed, you can just pop it on in there. And what you're going to do is this takes an hour to cook, and every 15 minutes you're going to pull them out and just kind of stir them around a little bit. There's not really a best method to doing that, just as long as you get it done. I just mixed them up and then flattened them out again, and then put them back in for another 15 minutes. That's going to be a total of 3 stirring sessions, I guess, because it's 15-minute increments in an hour's time period. Alright, the third time you stir them, you're going to notice they're getting a nice, kind of a gooey consistency to them, because all of that sugar sugar substitute is starting to really melt, and that's what's going to create that good crunchy candy coating whenever they dry. Just, again, mix it up, flatten it out, and put it back in for that final 15 minutes of cooking. Alright, once that hour's up, go ahead and pull the pecans out. Look them over, make sure they have a nice golden look to them. You don't want to leave them in too long, or you might start to burn a little bit, and that won't taste good. So just pull them out and put them on top of the oven to dry, or dry cool. Depends on how hot it is as to how long it'll take them to cool. I really recommend every couple of minutes or so I'd go in and just stir them around if you don't want them to clump together. I was a little lazy, so I had a couple pecan clusters on that. If you're not worried about how pretty they're going to be, just go ahead and let them dry that way. But if you're wanting more of an individual pecan, just make sure and spread them out. I hope that you enjoy this recipe. It's good for keto and non-keto alike because you can use regular sugar or sugar substitute. And you got a nice holiday treat to try, and I hope you like it. Until my next video, just remember to hydrate, satiate, and celebrate throughout your day, And I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.